Greetings, friend. Yeah, well, continuing where I left off of builds I kind of forgot to show. We have the Survivalist. Yeah, now, you may be wondering what a Survivalist is in this game. I mean, it's a pathless build, it's not a Berserker or a Guardian or anything like that, so you kind of have to get a little creative with the names sometimes, so I give names to pathless builds, and this one I feel like survivalist fits pretty well. Uh, so in essence, you know those shower thoughts, right? Just random things that just pop into your head when you're alone and things like that. This is a shower build. I thought, what if I made a physical build, just full on physical, with all of the healing skills that it can access from all the physical trees, right? And, grabbing all forms of recovery and defense in the process. So that's kind of what this build is. And to be honest, it's pretty decent. It is a bruiser and kind of just a normal warrior at the end of the day, but still surprisingly effective. So as you can see by the skill trees on the left, I've got a bunch of warrior, some rogue in there too, to grab the leech arrow, because again, I wanted all the healing, lifesteal skills, and also all the defensive stuff as well. So 30 rogue for leech arrow, 70 warrior for vibrating shield. Went down here with monk for the horse sense and also the evasion. And I went Guardian. I know Guardian is technically half physical, half magic, but I figured it still counts. And mainly because I wouldn't really have anywhere else to put points anyway, so it helps out a lot with this build. It's kind of hard to get away from Guardian when you go with Bruiser, Bruiser being a healthy mix of offense and defense. And yeah, sure, if I wanted all the all the defensive capabilities, they say offense is best defense, but not in this game. Not all the time. And technically, I do have a fair amount of offense, right? I just don't have like crazy high elemental power or crits or anything like that. I have just attack. That's where all my damage is coming from. Um, And so you may be wondering a few things. So this build took a lot of tweaking, experimenting, trying to find a good balance of things, right? So you may be wondering why I didn't go for the Stone Strike from Warrior. That's a lot of extra attack and defense, and you can never go wrong with reliable stats. Instead, I went with, Snake Nimbleness. I did not know it was called that. It's been a while, but yeah, I went for the evasion instead of the extra attack and defense. Normally, I would go for more reliable stats because I like things to be, well, reliable. Evasion, crit chance, all those, gambling stats I tend to avoid. So what's going on here? Well, first off, from what I've learned a lot from like the 5 bruiser monks that I've made. When you are a bruiser, you are you got a lot of defenses and whatnot. Having some evasion in there really helps with that defense, because unless you're a tank, some enemies will just hit you like really hard regardless. They will tear through you unless you are like a guardian or a warden with soft capped defenses, right? So evasion kind of helps just mitigate some of the damage that you take, because evading an attack doesn't hurt, and I mean, while evasion is a fickle mistress, it definitely helps when it shows up sometimes. So just don't rely on it fully, right? So, so that's one reason. Another reason is that I don't really need Stone Strike. I've got the soft cap sort of attack. Soft cap being around 950 to 1,000 attack. I could go higher. And that's fine. But um, I said it against it. I don't. And the main reason I don't really need more defense. And considering this is a build that is revolved around healing yourself really well, and surviving as a survivalist would, having a whole bunch of defense will really get in the way of that because defenses will reduce your healing received. So I wanted to keep my defense at a reasonable level. Uh, as the bruiser sort of minimum that I have of 300 in both defenses. Now I don't quite have that much medic defense, but I figured it's close enough, regardless. So yeah, that's the main reason why the 40 extra defense would really hurt my healing and my percent HP healing. Life still isn't reduced by your defenses at all, but a lot of my healing will come from percent based healing regardless. So, and again, I don't need the extra attack. So, but something that I've really come to like, and this was one of my latest characters, so this was kind of a late lesson for me, is that some of those gambling stats, like crit, evasion, agility, they are kind of nice to have in small doses, like drugs, as for lack of a better comparison. Uh, because rogues they kind of rely on those stats to survive, and they always fail, or 90% of the time they fail because they're not that reliable. Crit, evasion, and agility, right? So yeah, that's the reason I kind of stopped using them because I like my more reliable stats. Both defenses, attack, or magic, elemental power for more damage, not crit chance or evading for damage mitigation, things like that. But I found that having just some evasion, some crit chance, and even some agility really helps out in the long run on a build that can get those things, on a build that can afford to, I should say, like like a really good bruiser that when you're making a build in the character planner, you don't really know like what else to put. You got a good amount of both defenses, attack, elemental power, heal power. And you're trying to figure out what else to do. Well, get some agility, or well, not agility. I probably put agility at the very bottom of the priority list, but get some evasion. Some crit chance, not a whole lot, but just some. And I think that also might be why enemies in this game are so difficult, right? I mean, sure, some enemies have different archetypes. Like there will be a rogue enemy that will evade and crit a lot, but get one shot by like a thrust or something. And some enemies are like tanks; they don't hit that hard, but they take forever to kill and things like that. But they all have a decent chance to evade and a decent chance to crit. Especially when you hit floor 8, they start evading and critting a lot. Even the tank enemies will do that. And I think it's because the stats on those on every enemy, right? They're kind of all just elevated evenly, so they all have an even amount of. I mean, well, a base amount, Of course, they kind of spec into whatever class they are, So a tank will have a decent amount of agility. Well, not agility, evasion and crit, and then their defenses will be boosted after that. So I think that's what's going on. So in other words, I'm being an NPC right now. I've got a decent amount of agility, or not, I keep saying agility, evasion. I can kind of forget about agility. It kind of hurts sometimes when you have too much of it. Um, Decent amount of evasion. Crit chance could be higher. I was hoping to get some crit chance on this build somewhere, try to squeeze it in, but I couldn't really find a good spot for it. So, but that's fine. But that's one whole like side tangent out of the way. So yeah, evasion and crit on a bruiser, they're pretty nice because you're not relying on it, but when they're there, and they help out a lot. Secondly, I went for more endurance, 90 endurance, right? The reason for that was simply because I wanted to do something different. I realized a lot of my bruisers have like 100 or 90 strength or will, and then they put the rest in endurance. And experimenting with all the gear options here, the difference isn't that much between 100 strength or 100 endurance at all. Um, so I just went with this because it's easier, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it. A few of the things with the gear here. For starters, I chose these boots over the Christmas stocking boots because, again, way too many, like it boosts my defense way too much, and plus I want to keep my attack and also some, the extra heal power as well, but namely the health. That's 50 extra health that I wouldn't get. Yeah, a warrior with 1500 health is kind of rare. I think the only warrior that would have that by default, like if it was just a normal warden or berserker or just any warrior, would be warden because they have more health than anyone else. But yeah, so health also helps your percent based healing, as you would imply. So I chose those boots for that reason. Secondly, this chest piece. I would have gone for the Fireforge chest piece just because my earth resistance is pretty low. And no matter what build I play, it seems I can never have a good amount of earth resistance. Probably because of this Kaizam's belt. I really do love it to death, but regardless. So I would have went with that, and plus it gives a fair amount of heal power as well. But the main reason I chose this chest piece is one, I need the attack, because going 100 endurance means that you will need equipment with attack on it, and all my pieces have attack on it to get me above that, uh, uh, threshold, that soft cap attack. But also, this one has firepower and air power, and I figured that'd be that's kind of perfect like that because I have scorching daggers and leech arrow, both of which, they're both fire and air, and they're my lifesteal skills. So I figured it would be a pretty good trade off if I had those available. And plus the crit power never hurt either. It's not really gonna make a difference, but whatever. And also, I've got like 3 pieces reducing my defense. Yeah, again, I wanted to reduce my defense so I can heal myself better. At the same time, giving myself a fair amount of heal power. And yeah, speaking of heal power, I'm surprised I went out of the way to get this helmet. This coming from a multiplayer Grand Dungeon. Now granted, it's like the easiest dungeon keeper, but because this comes from a dungeon keeper, it's the easiest one to get because he's the easiest dungeon keeper, I should say, to farm. But yeah, this is a really nice helmet for this build, and also this Lotus pendant, which is also a really difficult to craft because it's a craftable item from Grand Dungeon, but it's difficult to get the pieces for. That's why it's only level 3, but good enough, I'd say. But enough talking in circles, just going over some of my baffling gear choices that I have going on here. Oh, I guess one more. Kaizen's belt, the Dragon Tail belt, I love it to death. It gives you attack, gives you heal power, and reduces earth resistance, which again, kind of the best resistance to have a negative in, because outside of very specific dungeon keepers, and I guess certain enemies with, certain, there's a very small amount of hard hitting earth attacks in this game. Most earth enemies are tanky enemies, or, well, yeah, just tanky enemies. They're not going to hit that hard, so. And now, of course, it could be said you don't want to be taking that much more damage from a tank enemy that you're going to be spending like 8 turns killing, but I digress. But yeah, I kind of like it more than the chocolate coin belt for that very reason. Also, the coin belt reduces your evasion. I'm kind of going evasive this time, so yeah, that's that. But yeah, again, enough talking in circles. So for the food, for the most part, this build doesn't really need food, but I do like to give myself a bit more heal power. And because I'm going strange this time, I'm going really off the wall weird this time. I've been using crit chance on it just to get a bit of crit chance, and also because I have all 3 lifesteal skills in the game: Leech Arrow, Scorching Daggers, and Recharge Blow. And they don't really heal you that much unless you crit, so there's that. And I guess I will go for more evasion. I would go for more magic defense, or actually maybe some elemental power. I'm a survivalist, so having all the defensive capabilities and restorative capabilities, we'll just keep it that way. So defenses, heal power, evasion, resistances, I guess, all the defensive stuff out of the way. So yeah, this is looking more like a monk, actually. This is a monk with like 200 more heal power, like a warrior monk, I should say, with a bunch of heal power. But it's good enough, I'd say. Let's get on with it. We've been talking for too long. Oh my! Almost have a full 5 rows of skills. A build is gonna be flexible when it has 5 rows of skills. And yeah, again, while this may have been one of the last characters I've made before the 5th house, of course, it has been like several months since I've played this, so I need to familiarize myself with this. Firewind Shield is not the best enemy to start with, though. I mean, it's not the worst either. But, I'll try one more. Okay, that's a lot better. Watery Drop is a free kill for any path, really. So I'm not mixed passive. Oh, there's my crits working already. I'm not mixed passive, so I can't really throw away my wolf blows. Well, I kind of have to here because Rocky Pebble takes way too long to kill without it. Well, this is room 2 Rocky Pebble. It might be alright if I can hit it. Yeah, that might take take some time. That's not too bad, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I know later on when they get like 800 health and like triple the defense, it becomes a bit of a chore to kill them. Firewind Shield. I will go ahead and... Well, I'll hit you with Wolf Blow and Recharge Blow, just to get my health up just a little bit. See the healing there. 184. That's actually not that bad, considering Firewind Shield has a lot of physical defense, even with Wolf Blow on it. But yeah, I'll use it to heal on you. My crit's extending the duration of all the buffs and debuffs. Kind of nice. Yeah, again, that's another reason why I kind of started using a smidge of crit. Not a whole lot, just a little crit on the side for my bruisers, because critical hits not only do more damage, but also they extend buffs and debuffs and the like. So it's nice. It's nice. So I'm gonna have to kill you with something easy. There we go. Some evasion, some regen. Should not be that bad. Already working for me. Although I didn't really need it there, but that's fine. So good old Golem, physical boss, nothing too scary just yet. Use vibrating shield in case I run into a. Never mind, he evaded it. Say, in case I run into a windy puff. Oh, I see how it is, Roy. You're gonna throw all the physical tank enemies at me when I'm purely physical and a survivalist, so I don't have a whole lot of damage. I see how it is. But yeah, I mean, we're already through the first boss. Now, of course, this is the early floors, so they're not going to hit that hard, and they're not that difficult. They're still level 80. Well, 85 now, but I haven't really used much. All I've used is one single recharge blow, and I'm still above half health. Well, I guess in a mystical strike. So, in other words, haven't really used much of my arsenal just yet. Horse stance being useful for being expendable, I guess you could say. And yeah, all the like as you can see, the crits and the evasion really helping out a bruiser uh, survive. 'Cause bruisers don't really take that much damage, but you know they're not tanks, and they would like to survive. Okay, Boggy Chubby, not the worst enemy to find on a warrior, because they don't really resist physical. Whoa. Uh, Ignore that. Poor fellow in the other room. Been sick from all the cold. You know what happens. Yeah, I can see what's going on here, Roy. Another firewind shield. Normally I would like to try and kill it without having to resort to on guard. But I might not have that up yet, because it's got provoking gaze, and provoking gaze reduces my defense, and I can't rely on my shield bash for free thrust, because thrust only does medium damage when it does, or when you have a positive amount of physical defense buff on you. So I'll try to preserve all these wolf blows as best I can. Again, don't mind the fellow in the other room. A hard time. I would like to heal just a smidge. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have a really decent chance to deflect with on guard, so the firewind shield might kill itself, to be honest. Yep. There you go. And I just wanted to heal up. That was a big heal. Oh wow, okay. I guess I forgot about that. I had on guard up. I mean, I had the provoking gaze debuff, which would increase my healing received, but still, that's a lot. That's a lot. Phantom cores, magical boss. Hit it with vibrating shield and hope for the best. That hurts still. All right. Wow, that's actually a pretty decent hit. Yeah, proving my point about all the crits and stuff. Yeah, normally a warrior with just soft cap attack and no elemental power wouldn't really hit that hard. Not easily, anyway. Second leg of the journey. Well, I guess it's technically the third leg. It's the weird one. Water mirror. I'm not too sure if you resist water, despite your name. I think you're just a tank all around. Let's see. Yet another firewind shield. Okay, Roy. I don't know what I've done to slight you, but I'm sorry. Can we fight? Because this build was really made to get through fighting, a decent mix of enemies, namely the the glass cannon enemies that would usually hurt a warrior. It wouldn't really matter because this warrior can heal itself like crazy. I'm not getting any of them. I'm getting tanks. The one enemy type that my other bruisers would love to fight. Oh well, good enough. Yeah, another tank. Man, well, I guess is really showing that I am surviving because I'm pretty sure I'm taking more damage from tanks than I would if they were glass cannons. Because glass cannons, they don't have that much defense. Lifesteal would steal a whole bunch of life from them. I should have countered there. That's my mistake. Got bursted, but that's fine. But oh well. Could have used a cheeky wind wall just to get that buff going. Oh, finally, a glass cannon, but a dodgy one. Oh well. Better late than never, I suppose. The event chest. I would use a wolf blow, but one, I only got one left, and two, yeah, that. It doesn't have much defense, so it's going to bite me here. It's only got one evasion buff, so it likely won't evade. Going to counter so it doesn't burst me because it bites with air. And that was a pretty smooth kill, I must admit. Not too shabby. Yeah, normally warriors would kind of struggle getting hitting hard enough to kill that thing without getting bit a few times, but wasn't too bad, I'll say. Final leg of the journey, and of course, more fire wind shields, and well, just tanks in general. Thanks, Roy. Use horse stance again. It's expendable. It's not really all that useful, but you can throw it out willy nilly and it will help you out. Like before, it might deflect kill itself. Unless I evade. I forgot I have a decent amount of evasion here. And since his health is low, I'll just kill it with that. And hey, look at that! And another glass cannon. Probably the one I wouldn't want to fight. You know. So this may hurt. I've got a single magic defense buff there. That might help, but yeah. Okay, that wasn't that bad. It didn't hit for like 600 like it normally would. Yeah, and once again, another Firewind Shield. What's going on here? I guess I'll try killing it with dots like a rogue would. Despite rogues not having enough defense to survive, getting hit by a tank for like 5 turns, but oh well. Yeah, I really am liking how much that heals. That's pleasing. For a warrior, that's a lot. That's a lot of healing to be receiving from one's own hand. And well, this is interesting. Okay. Well, I haven't even used my scorching daggers or leech arrow. It just goes to show how much healing this build has. That was a pretty hefty attack. Pretty good heal too. I didn't see the number there, but that was pretty decent for a non-crit scorching daggers. Of course, it was on an event chest. They don't have that much defense, but still. I don't think it's gonna bite me. It might actually. So I'll just use scorching daggers again. That hurt a lot, but luckily it didn't evade. It's pretty nice, and that's a really lovely score. Wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you see, I only score like that on my main character, my mixed passive druid. Good lord. Well, I mean, I guess I was fighting a bunch of tanks the entire time. And, sort of rule of thumb, the longer you take on fights, you tend to get a bit more score, as long as you're not using the same skills over and over again, which this build has a lot of skills, so there's that. And, yeah, it's a nice solo build. Is it good in multiplayer? I mean, it's kind of on par with Berserker, just minus the boiling blood or the fury, I guess. But I would probably say it's really good in Dungeon Keepers because again, it's got so many forms of healing, and the main concern in Dungeon Keepers is keeping your health topped up and stay alive for that long. Less pressure on your healers and stuff like that, and plus kind of like the health necromancer. If you need to tank, you can because you've got unsettling stare. You know, it's really it's a really nice versatile solo build, and also I guess dungeon keeper build too. Multiplayer, I guess technically it can do pretty well in multiplayer. It depends on what your party is, but yeah, I guess that's all really. It's you know having a good time with an experiment, a shower thought, a shower build, and also proof that I need to go back and change some things with the old guides. Because before I was like, oh, if you're a rogue, or if you're not a rogue, you don't need crit or evasion. If you're not a rogue or a monk, you don't need those things. If you're just going for defenses and some attack or magic, But again, this proves that having some really really useful. The amount of times I've crit and evaded in this run, really nice. And again, enemies in this game are known to evade and crit a lot. Maybe they just have just a little bit, of crit chance and evasion. Something that the player can do. Like you could easily get 400 crit chance, which is like 20% crit, I believe. Yeah, 20% crit. You could easily get that, and a little over 100 evasion, which is only 5%. But when you get the monks passives, you get the horse stance and rooster crow, which will help out with your evasion a lot. So yeah, it's not that hard to see why enemies crit and evade all the time, because maybe they're just statted better than most players are. Yeah, I guess you could use dexterity for that, but dexterity isn't really as efficient for most of its stats. But uh, I digress. I need to get out of here, so I'll see you around. Ta ta for now.